what type of experiences would you recommend them to sign up for? What do you think plays best on portfolios? Is there a one-stop shop?
All right. So I'm going to go full controversial here. I don't think people should do things in their life in order to make a good portfolio. I say this because I actually have people in my cohort who have brilliant portfolios. They've interviewed here, they've interviewed there, they've done this trip overseas through that interview, and I'm not saying they aren't incredible life experiences, but you wouldn't know it speaking to them. And
yeah, don't worry, I know the types.
And it just, to me, it seems a bit bizarre to live your life and do certain things with an ulterior motive.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion. I never did anything in my life in order to make my portfolio look good.
Yeah, it's like morally bankrupt if you do things just for the purpose of getting into medicine.
I mean, for sure. I do want to add, like, disclaimer. I'm not telling you how to live your life. You do whatever you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, I do think though there's a chance that you can kind of like map out things that will play well, but then you still have a good reason why you're engaging in it, if that makes sense.
Effectively, you just want your own agency, and you don't want the med school to take reins of that.
So let's say it's like I have 10 hours a week that I can devote to philanthropy. Let's like work out what I want to do, and in the list of reasons why you choose something, sure, maybe the fact that it'll be a good experience.
Absolutely.
The thing you should think of is it'll be a good experience for medicine, not that it will get me into medicine.
Absolutely. So I volunteered for Make-A-Wish for 3 years. And actually, it wasn't until like 6 months after I started volunteering for Make-A-Wish that I was like, oh, this will look really good on my portfolio.
Yeah.
I did it. In all honesty, sad story. I saw a sad video on YouTube, made me want to volunteer. Started volunteering, loved it.
Yeah, hooked.
Yeah, I got hooked. Yeah. It was really gratifying, and it was a really great community. I had a great time doing it. But then maybe I stayed longer because it looked good on my portfolio.
But that's not wrong. There's every decision we make in life is to do with incentives.
Absolutely.
Small, large, whatever. There's still an incentive, and it will play into how you behave. So
I mean, to take it back to your question. There are a few things. I think obviously volunteering looks great. I guess it depends on what kind of volunteering you're doing, and also to me it depends why you're doing the volunteering.
Yeah. I think so. My take on volunteering. Please. I think regularity is king.
Yeah.
So.
One stint for 2 weeks.
I used to always say, like, if you do one thing, like 1 hour a week for a year, it's so much more powerful than going to Somalia on some, like, what do they call them? There's like charity tours or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like those things where you go build houses.
An orphanage or something like that, yeah.
And then like R&R for a week and come back or something. I'm not, that's a totally separate conversation, but...
not to say that's not a beneficial thing to do.
Yeah. But it's probably not as meaningful as you think. I think there are a lot of things about being regular and committed that just play well.
Absolutely, yeah.
The whole like just being there is half of it.
Well, I think on my portfolio, one of the things that looked really good was that I volunteered at my youth group for 10 years.
Yeah.
That's what it said on my portfolio. I mean, I went there as like a kid going for fun Sunday programs, for like 7 of those 10 years. Mm-hmm. And then I was a youth leader for 3 of those 10 years. But on my portfolio, it said 10 years volunteering. Yeah. And to take it to your point, I think the fact that it was like 10 years doing this thing looked good.
Looks good, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Some of the things that you could do, being like a hospital volunteer would be a good one. Mm-hmm. It's good for lots of reasons. Like you'll get a bit of insight into how the hospital works, who clinical assistants are, and you get to talk to patients and break some of that fear about walking into a patient room and just talking to someone.
Allows you to empathize with the profession.
Like you haven't done that yet as part of medical school, but in second year, it's just like a weird thing. You don't know this person, they're sick, and you're just going to walk in
I've done
Yeah.
that at Sydney. At
okay.
Sydney, we
Sorry.
have
That was, yeah.
judgy. At Sydney, we have a day of clinical school every week.
Right.
For me, it's on Mondays.
Okay,
And
that's pretty good.
It is.
It must be even harder because you don't know anything.
Well, this is exactly right. And so
it's
what
literally just to talk to them, right?
we spent our first block learning how to take history and communication skills and whatnot.
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely, it's scary as all hell. It's and you get used to it, and you realize that there's just another person, and they're happy to talk to you.
Yeah,
and
you just have to form a relationship.
Absolutely.
Help them. I was gonna say make them trust you. That sounds so dark.
So conniving.
No, but it is a skill, and you get good at it. But that, I think, being a volunteer in a hospital setting would be a good way to get a head start on that. And you have better insight later on for when you have to talk about medical situations. You'll have a better sort of sense of how it works. So that's one thing you could do, but literally you could do anything. Like, it really doesn't matter.
That's what I was going to say. I think travel is underrated as something that looks good on a portfolio.
Yeah,
and
definitely,
I don't mean you did a Kentucky tour in Europe.
Yeah, call it a tour.
Yeah. Not to play down the experiences that people have on those kinds of tours. I'm sure it's incredible fun, but go and spend a month in India, or go and what you want your travel to show is a breadth of life experiences rather than ticking off, Rome, Paris, and Amsterdam.
Yeah. I think the overall point is diversity looks good as well.
Exactly.
So, if you're plotting, so you have your whatever it is 1 hour a week. So for me that was so I did like music therapy stuff at Royal Melbourne. That was during med school for my internship application, but it's kind of a similar thing.
Just pause. I want to know what kind of music therapy you got into.
So I play the guitar and I sing. So that's what I did with.
So
and there was also a group.
Were the people more sick when you walked out? Is that what happened?
That
was mean. I'm sorry.
The way it works is that once I leave, everyone's relaxed.
Counterintuitive, but it really works.
Anyway,
sorry, I interrupted you. You did music therapy.
So that's one thing. But then so you could map out some sort of. No, it's not charity tour. What do they call them? Anyway, it doesn't even have to be about that type of philanthropy work. You could just go somewhere, do something fun.
Yeah.
It's all about how you frame it later on when you talk about that trip and the things you learn and the culture that you.
To be fair, I did a lot of traveling in my past few years.
Yeah.
And I did it for me entirely. It was complete. I think travel can be more often than not one of the most selfish things someone does. At least from my perspective, I did it for me because I wanted to see and experience.
Yeah.
But on my portfolio, I made it look 100% not about that. You know? I guess it's how you frame things, as you just said.
Exactly. Other things, like I saw people that have dance on their resume, or sport is also a good one, showing that you can function well in teams. You don't have to be an Olympian, like you can just play regular sport.
Again, as you just said, how you function well on teams. I mean, teamwork is one of the sections in the Wollongong portfolio.
Yeah.
And if you play a regular, like you and I both do, play basketball in a regular social league, that's fine. Yep. If you frame it in a way that you show that, like having played on as this team, I've learnt the value and benefit of teamwork and camaraderie and stuff like that.
You could do like leadership seminars, like professional development things. Some people do Toastmasters, kind of old fashioned, like public speaking stuff. The short answer is that you should do these things because they'll help you to, like, it's kind of that self entrepreneur of the self is what one of our other tutors calls it.
Nourishing the spirit.
Yeah, exactly. Build on your own qualities, whether that's and your behaviors and your habits, because it'll pay off in other ways.